So this bike is about 30,000 shillings more affordable than a 2024 Power Tekken 250. It's more advanced in terms of technology and safety in the sense that it is electronically fuel injected, and as if that's not enough, it also has ABS, yes, anti-lock brake system. It's also one of the smoothest and refined bikes in its category. The only area where the dominant Tekken 250 beats it is in terms of power. The Tekken 250 produces about 24 horsepower, while this bike produces around 20 horsepower. So 4 horsepower less. Which bike am I talking about? The 2024 Lifan or Skygo Kpt 200. Could this be the perfect alternative to the Power Tekken 250? That's what we'll be finding out in today's episode, so please stay tuned for that. If you find this content helpful, please do consider subscribing to the channel for more informative content on cars as well as bikes. Welcome to iCave Auto Reviews. So first things first, this is a touring bike. It's not an off-roader by any means. What propels it is a 198cc single-cylinder liquid-cooled engine. Yes, it's liquid-cooled and not oil-cooled like in the Power Tekken 250. This is a 4-stroke engine that produces around 20 horsepower at 9,000 rpm and 17 newton meters of torque at 7,500 rpm. So power is available higher in the rpm, and this may be a good thing for a beginner because at low speeds, especially in towns or cities, it's easier to manage this bike. It's not like some bikes which feel quite powerful lower down the rpm to the point that the front wheel will end up lifting or having that squatting effect due to a lot of torque lower down the rpm. So it's generally manageable, but that is not to say that it feels slow. It's not that slow. In fact, this bike can do speeds of around 90 to 100 kilometers per hour very comfortably. And as for the top speed, depending on the rider's weight or luggage the bike is carrying, it can do up to a maximum of around 120 kilometers per hour, which is not bad for a 200cc bike. The Power Tekken 250 can do slightly better than that, probably around 130 kilometers per hour, so the Skygo is not too far behind. Then in terms of the vibrations, this bike is among the most refined ones out there in its category. You will certainly feel a bit of vibrations higher up the RPMs at higher speeds, but they are not too much pronounced like on some other bikes. Now, the method of fuel delivery is EFI, that is electronic fuel injection, which is better, more reliable, and more advanced compared to the carburetor you will find in the Power Tekken 250. I should also mention that it comes with an electronic start. This engine is coupled to a 6-speed wet multi-plate gearbox, which is smooth enough and easy to use. Before we proceed, let's get something out of the way. This bike is liquid cooled, as I had said, but the Power Tekken 250 is oil cooled. So which one is better in that regard? Now, in oil cooling, it's the same oil in the engine that is passed through a radiator which uses atmospheric air to cool down the oil's temperature. Yes, the radiator really helps to cool down the engine oil, but at times on very long distances, the engine oil might end up getting too hot, and this can make it lose its viscosity, which may consequently increase the friction in the internal components of the engine. This is not a common occurrence, but it may occur, and that's why you may find that in some bikes there's a fan to aid in better cooling of the oil, especially on very long distances or in areas where it's too hot. That said, oil cooling is actually more reliable and cost effective than liquid cooling because it's only the oil that will need changing, but as for liquid cooling, you'll have to also keep changing the coolant in addition to the oil. Liquid cooling is a bit better in terms of long distances because of the optimal cooling, which maximizes engine efficiency. Generally, liquid cooled bikes provide more efficient and stable cooling. So in a nutshell, liquid cooling is better in terms of long distances, but it comes with a bit of extra maintenance. Oil cooling, on the other hand, is more reliable, more affordable, can also do long distances, but the cooling is not as stable and efficient compared to that of liquid cooling. Efficiency wise, this bike can do anywhere between 30 to around 38 kilometers per liter, or even slightly more depending on how you ride as well as on how much weight you are hauling around. Things such as the top and side boxes will certainly increase the drag and thereby end up affecting efficiency ever so slightly, but generally it's a very efficient bike. The fuel tank capacity is 13 liters. Then as for suspension, at the front it gets inverted telescopic shocks, while at the back it gets a monoshock. The ride quality is decently sorted, not too soft and not too hard. It's somewhere in between there. The suspension travel is not that much, which easily tells you that it's a road biased bike. The ADV looks should not make you think it's an off-roader. It's a road biased touring bike. The ground clearance measures in at around 180 millimeters, which is good enough. Then as for the seat height, it measures in at around 790 millimeters. It's accommodative for even slightly shorter riders. People of average height should not have any problem maneuvering this bike. As for the brakes, it gets discs at both the front and back plus ABS, anti-lock brake system, which is extremely important for any bike. Power Tekken 250 doesn't have ABS, but this Skygo KPT 200 has it as standard, and that's a big plus. This is a system that can really help you prevent an accident, especially if you are a beginner. The weight of this bike is around 158 kgs, which is not bad. It is manageable enough even in traffic. Now, what about the price? A 2024 model is going for around 320,000 shillings with the top and side boxes. A 2024 Power Tekken 250 is going for around 245 to around 260,000 depending on the outlet where you buy from. I've seen some very recent ones that were assembled less than a week ago selling at 360,000. They may have some slight improvements to warrant that price increment, but I'm not very sure. So is this Lifan or Skygo KPT 200 value for money? Before we answer that, what do you think about its looks? Personally, I think it looks quite good. It has a bit of road presence. It gets LED lights all around which are very bright. The instrument cluster is also clear and easy to read. It displays information such as the speed, RPMs, fuel level, clock, and even the gear indicator. So in that front, it's good enough. I should have also mentioned that both the front and back wheels are 17 inches, though as expected the back wheel is wider. So if you were to buy this bike at 320,000 shillings, what will you get that the Tekken 250 doesn't offer? You'll get ABS brakes, EFI, liquid cooling which is slightly better than oil cooling, and on top of all that you'll save around 30,000 shillings if you leave the Tekken 250 in favor of this Skygo KPT 200. What if you decide to go for the Tekken 250? What will you get that the Skygo doesn't offer? You'll only get more power, around 4 horsepower to be precise. So what do you think? Will you get the Skygo instead of the Tekken 250? Do let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Personally, I think I would go with the Skygo because it definitely offers better value. I would prefer to lose 4 horsepower but gain the important features such as ABS, EFI, and liquid cooling. I hope this has been helpful. Thanks a lot for watching. As always, if you have any enquiries, feel free to reach me via WhatsApp or email. Stay safe, ride and drive safe. But before you go, please hit that subscribe button so that you can keep getting informative content on cars as well as bikes.